Well, it's the week after Thanksgiving, and I've come down to what is the closest beach to my home. This is Kitsap Memorial State Park on Hood Canal. Looks like a nice day, good conditions. And I'm here really to mess about with an experimental system. And I'll show you that in a moment. I don't know if there are going to be any fish around. I've been out a few times in the last couple of weeks and not found any sign of fish at all. But you never know, things can happen, and we'll see. It's an outgoing tide. During the day the tides are very high and there's not much tidal range, so low tide is in about an hour and a half, so I'm going to fish as the tide goes out just to give me a little bit of beach space, and I'll probably fish an hour or two after low water. And I'm just going to get ready and I'll show you what I'm using in a moment. So I've been corresponding with a gentleman by the name of Rory Glennie, who lives on the east side of Vancouver Island. Lucky man, and he's a big keen fly fisherman. So he wrote me about a system that he's developed that has really got me intrigued, and I'm kind of trying my version of it. So if you fish with surface flies like poppers, you'll know it's extremely difficult to hook fish. They'll swirl at it, they'll even jump out of the water to try and get the fly, but it's really hard to get a hook up. So it's very attractive but inefficient. So what Rory has done is to essentially attach a dropper fly behind the surface fly, so that the idea is the fish will strike at this and then it'll turn around and see like a happy little meal swimming just behind it, and will take this fly. And he said it works really well for him. Now the idea of a popper dropper is not new. For several years people have been fishing that for panfish and smallmouth bass and the like, but I think Rory's idea is the first time I've seen it applied like this to sea run cutthroat. Now in BC you can only use one fly with a hook on it, so he was faced with the problem of only being able to fish one hook. So what he did was he tied a surface popper type fly on an articulated shank, and he tied his leader to one side of it, and he tied his tippet to the other side, and about 20 inches of tippet and a fly behind it, and that's how he's getting his system to work. So I've changed it a little bit. Now I should say in Washington State you can use two flies with hooks in them. That's clear. In the salt you can do that, but I don't really want to, for various reasons. Primarily getting hung up on casting, or having one of the flies, if the fish makes a run, getting caught in some structure or something like that. So for now I just want to fish like Rory is with one fly. So what I've come up with is tying basically what is a beach popper on a very short tube, and instead in the junction tubing here, the soft tubing that would normally hold your hook, I've put just a little plug of bamboo, and I've cut this down from a satay skewer. So I've got a 9-foot 1X leader that I've cut down to 7.5 feet, and that goes through the tube, and you can see you can adjust the length easily, but it stays in place, to whatever length you set it. And then I've put on what's that called, a tippet ring, and that defines the shortest length between my surface fly and my dropper fly. So the dropper is tied to 20 inches of fluorocarbon, 8-pound fluorocarbon, and the fly I'm using in honor of Rory is the American Coachman, which is kind of a Canadian favorite. So that's the system. I guess I call this thing a stopper popper, and this is a dropper, so it's a stopper popper dropper. I don't know if it's going to work, don't know if there are any fish around, but I'm going to give it a try. Okay, so let's go. So from a technical standpoint, so far, and I've been fishing 5 minutes or so, the system operates very well. The popper floats the trailing fly with no problem at all. I mean, I've dressed it in such a way that there are really no dense materials in it. It's mostly buoyant stuff. So that really floats nicely. And the trailing fly looks great. And it's just as I want it, like just subsurface. There's no point having attracting a fish to the surface and then fishing a really submerged fly behind it. So that's doing well. There's no problem casting it. I'm using this old Scott rod, which has a kind of a more progressive action. So it's not really a very aggressive rod, and I haven't had anything tangling up. It casts just fine. So the system seems to work the way I intend it to. All we need really is for some fish to show up. Look at that, it's just great. So I hope everyone had a very pleasant and happy Thanksgiving. I certainly did. We had some family with us and one of our friends. If you grew up in the United States, chances are you don't remember your first Thanksgiving. It was just something that was there. But if you're an immigrant like me, there's a good chance that you will remember your first Thanksgiving. I certainly do, and it made a huge impression on me. So this was around about 1982, and I was in my early 20s, and I'd just been awarded a fellowship at the National Cancer Institute in Bethesda, Maryland, and this was my first time in the United States, traveling there with an infant son and my wife, and the culture shock was just incredible, and we didn't have 2 cents to rub together, and we were living in an apartment with like an off-cut of carpet, a mattress, a baby's crib, and a card table, and that was about it, and I'd been there a week or two, and Thanksgiving came around, and there was a young MD in my lab, a guy from Iowa called Bob, and he was a visiting fellow as well, and I think he was homesick, and he said, why don't you guys come around and celebrate Thanksgiving with us? He had a wife, Paula, and a little boy called Nathan. So we went around, and I think it was the first time I've ever been in a wood-framed house. Definitely the first time I've eaten yams, and the first time I'd eaten pumpkin pie. And it was just so nice. It was like all our worries and troubles disappeared. And I don't think he knew how much it meant, his gesture of kindness. But it did stick with me, and Thanksgiving has always been my favorite holiday since then. I became an American citizen some time ago, and I've lived here over 30 years now, and I just remember all the cool things that I guess everyone does. John Madden awarding the turkey leg to the football game, most valuable player, chopping wood out in the yard for a wood stove, making turkey gravy. I just love everything about it, and there's nothing like that back in England at all. Christmas, of course, but that tends to be like lasts for ages, and it's lots of overindulgence. But there's nothing commercial about Thanksgiving, I guess there's all the Cyber Monday nonsense and Black Friday and all that, but the spirit of the holiday remains unspoiled. So okay, that's it for me and Thanksgiving. Just wanted to say that you guys did something right when you created that holiday. I've been fishing about 25 minutes now, absolutely no action yet, and I haven't seen any fish, which isn't a good sign. So how I'm fishing this is to basically let it just make a wake in the water. It's called a beach popper, this style of fly, but it's not a popper. With the head tied on so that the sharp end is forward, it's never going to pop. Okay, so that's not the idea. I do vary the retrieve a little bit. I'll give just long, slow pulls and then little short ones, and make frequent pauses. And I try and remember to keep my rod tip close to the water and pointing at the popper. That's really all there is to it. Like I say, you don't pop these things. Oh, fish on. And it has taken the dropper fly. Awesome. How about that? I think my fly is out. Oh boy, I'm so pleased about that. That's that's great. Let's see if I can just let him get out. Go on, bud. Oh, awesome. So the stopper, popper, dropper works. And he took my little American coachman. Yep. Made a bit of a mess of the tippet. Just get that sorted out. There we go. I'm dead chuffed about that, man. Thank you, Rory. So my excitement with that fish over whether or not it had taken the trailing fly was pretty misguided, of course, because there is no hook in the popper, so it could only have taken the coachman. But I was very excited, so not thinking very logically. And it's entirely possible that that is pretty much the only fish on the beach. I hope not. I am enjoying it, so I'm going to keep going for a while. And there's the noontime bell, which means we're half an hour away from low tide. And I'll have to check the footage to see if if the fish actually did strike at the popper first. It all happened very quickly. I think it was like a bang bang kind of a thing. We'll see. I'm just taking a moment to warm my hands up, and I thought I'd show you the flies I've brought along today, because they're not the usual type I would fish. For using the popper dropper system, obviously the flies have to be pretty small and buoyant and lightweight, and for me they have to be interesting to tie. So Unigo, that's the one I've been using. This is the American Coachman. I don't know if the GoPro is going to be able to focus on that. The other ones I've brought along, I've got some Johnson's beach fly, always great. And then I've got this is called this is the Peter Ross. I'll show better against that now. And this is a British fly that I know it works for sea trout, so really nice and small. It's on a size 10, I think, there. So at some stage I'll give that a go. And this is King of the Waters, just a real beauty, that one. So maybe today I'll change out my American Coachman for one of those, or I might just keep with it. I've also got, gosh, I can't remember the name of that. I'll put that as a subtitle. That might work as well. And then this one, you know, I did an old time video on that, the Omnibus. Pretty fly, if ever there was one. So yeah, so those are what I brought, and you know, I also tied some like generic streamer type things in different colors, but you know, I think that's overkill. I'm going to go with these little guys. I think that's the way to go. Okay, back to fishing. Well, it's gone very flat and calm, which in my experience is not really good for fishing with topwater flies. I like a bit of chop on the water. So I did bring another outfit with me. I've got an intermediate line on my other rod with a sculpin pattern, and I'm going to try that for a little while, and if nothing is doing, then I'm going to probably call it a day soon. So I'm now basking in the rays of the setting sun. It's going down pretty quickly. I fished for about 3 hours. I only had that one bite and one fish on the stopper popper, as I'm calling it. So that's batting 100, I guess. So I'll definitely be exploring that system some more as the fishing season goes on. But I'm really encouraged by it. I think it's a fun way to fish. So what I'll do is I'll pop up this little video, and then I will do another one on the American Coachman, because I don't think it's a very common fly around here. And I'll do maybe another video on how to construct the stopper popper. Okay, so until then, happy holidays, everybody, if I don't see you before. Drink responsibly, tight lines. Bye-bye.